Good day, students. Ms. Thomas here again. Today we're going to talk about who owns the mass media. Who owns these media houses? The international ones, local ones, they're all owned by either persons, individuals, groups, or government. We have government or state-run media houses that's owned by the government. You have privately owned media houses, and you have joint or mixed owned media houses. That's a mix between government and privately owned. I will discuss it in this order. State or public owned media houses are owned by the government. They generally promote nation building type programming. They would also ensure that local content is distributed as well as regional content. They may focus on positive news that steers positive behavior among citizens, and of course they would aim to educate citizens. That's some of the major roles that the government-owned or state-owned media houses. Some of the concerns that persons may have with state-run owned media houses is that it may be a drain on the public purse. Running a media house is not a cheap enterprise at all. All media houses gain their revenue from advertisers, persons who pay for advertising space. As example, in print media, persons will pay for advertising space, advertising their products and services. And on television or electronic media, they will pay for airtime. And that is how generally media houses gain their revenue. But with state-owned media houses, they'll gain it that way, as well as they would be getting contributions or subsidies from the government, because it is government-owned. And of course, those funds come from the public, you and I. So it is a drain on the public purse, especially if it is not efficient. There are shortcomings and deficiencies in government. Shortcomings and deficiencies in government may not be given any prominence at all. No government is perfect, but of course in a state-run media house, they would not highlight their shortcomings or deficiencies at all. Conversely, they might actually issue propaganda. Do you know what the word propaganda means? It means the spreading of ideas, information, and rumors for the purpose of helping or injuring an institution, a cause, or a person. The government would put out what they want you to know. And they have free rein to do so in a state-run media house. Now we go on to private ownership. Media houses that are owned by individuals, groups, or companies. Does not mean that there's an absence of political pressure or influence because it's privately owned, but it tends to be more balanced. The reporting tends to be more balanced on social and political and economic issues as compared to a state-owned media house. As we said, the state-owned media house would try to make the government portray the government in its best light. But a privately owned media house would have a more balanced approach to reporting. So, they will show shortcomings and they will show all the gains that they have made, meaning the government. So they will show shortcomings and they will show the issues and deficiencies, as well as if there's something good to report, something positive to report, they would also do that, or they should also do that. You will make your own assessment on if privately owned media houses are biased or unbiased. They will serve their own purpose as well. They have their own agenda as well, and they would, just like the government, they would push out the information that they want you to hear. And remember, the aim of these media houses and the mass media is to influence, and they want to influence you. Everybody is striving to influence you. Then you have joint or mixed ownership. That is joint between the government and privately owned. Of course, in this type of ownership, you have the government owns a percentage share, and private ownership, and the private owners has a percentage. So it's joint and shared. Of course, here as well, it should have a more balanced news reporting and so on. So again, state or the mass media has owners. They are, and it could be categorized in 3 categories. State ownership, that's ownership by the government, the state. You have private ownership, and then you have joint ownership. Examine the media houses in your country and categorize those that are state-owned, those that are privately owned, and those that are joint. And see what kind of information they deliver to you. If it's biased, unbiased, balanced, unbalanced, that's for you to decide. And of course, you to be influenced by. You'll decide if you want to be influenced or not. So that's it for today, where we spoke about ownership of the mass media, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.